All right, up first, I've got some reminders on how to solve quadratic things by factoring. So first off, I've got two questions here that are already factored for us because they're already in the parentheses, because I just want a reminder how you solve it once you get here. So as long as I have two things multiplied together that equal 0, I can set them both equal to 0 and solve. 2x minus 5 equals 0. Now, for these ones where there's nothing in front of x, they're super quick. X equals -3. For these ones where I do have something in front of x, you probably need to actually solve that. So add 5 to both sides, I get 2x equals 5. Divide out the 2. Now, you could say 5 over 2, which Delta Math likes way more. It likes the fractions. But if you said 2.5, that is not wrong. Now, because I got two answers and they are both different, this problem has two solutions. For this one over here, I can actually just look at these same way this one. I would have to add 4 to both sides, and so I will get x equals 4. And when I do this one, I will also get x equals 4. So even though I got two answers, they're both the same. So this one only has one solution. So let's come down here to where I actually need to factor it. So this is the one where I draw my x because it equals 0. The product for this one is going to be -18. And the sum, the number in the middle, is -7. So I need to think of a pair of numbers that would work. And in this case, it's -9 and +2. So I'm going to split the middle. I got 6x squared minus 9x plus 2x minus 3. I took the -9 and the +2 from my x. I'm going to split it in half so that I can do GCFs. The GCF out of this side is a 3x. And when I divide, I get 2x, because 6x squared divided by 3x gives me 2x. 9x divided by 3 just makes 3. There are no more x's. On the other side, these guys are both divisible by 1, a +1 because of this plus sign in the middle. And that leaves me with 2x minus 3. I notice that both of my parentheses are the same, which is good. So I get 3x plus 1, because this is a +1, and 2x minus 3 equals 0. Now, all I have to do, just like we did up on these guys, now that it's factored, I just set both parentheses equal to 0 and solve. So 3x plus 1 equals 0, and 2x plus 3 equals 0. I'm going to skip the math on this, but I get x equals -1/3, and x equals -3/2. Now, if you want to give decimals for this, you can, but this one will turn out to be a happy decimal over here. It's just a -1.5. This one will come out to -0.3 repeating, and Delta Math will not like that. So this is two solutions because I got two answers and they are both different. If I come over here to this other one, you'll notice that something is wrong here. And the something that is wrong is that it doesn't equal 0. So the first thing that I got to do is I got to minus 24 from both sides. And I can just tack them on at the end because it doesn't have an x with it. But I do need it to equal 0 for starters. There's nothing in front of the x squared, so this is going to be a good factoring day. The product is -24, and the sum is -10. I got to think of a pair of numbers that does that. It's -12 and a +2. So x minus 12, x plus 2. I need both my answers, so this guy is going to be x equals a +12 and x equals a -2. And this one is also two solutions. I got two answers, and they're both different. So let's come over here to quadratic formula. Now, I forgot to write the quadratic formula up here. You do not have to memorize it. It's -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. All right, so remember, your number in front of x squared, this is going to be your a. Your number in front of x, that's your b. And your number without any variables at all, that's your c. And make sure that it equals 0, same for factoring. So all this is plugging stuff in. So let me write up kind of the shell of it. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I've just got all my little shells here, and it's just filling everything in. So we said b was this negative 12 in front of x. So I'm going to fill in my b's with negative 12. We said that a was this number in front of x squared, so that's a 3. And then c is your constant, your number out here that doesn't have an x, and it is a negative 5. All right, now even though this looks super scary, you're kind of only doing it in chunks. All right, the first chunk that we need to do is this bit. This doesn't even go in a calculator. You should know that 2 negatives make a positive. So this is a 12. The plus or minus sign stays. Same with the square root. But up next, I've got to type all of this into a calculator with the parentheses exactly like it is. So I'm taking my calculator, I'm doing negative 12 squared minus 4 parentheses 3 parentheses negative 5. So over here in the corner, I've got what you're typing into a calculator, like seriously, exactly like this into a calculator, and I get 204. So here's my 204. And then over, I guess you could do this next bit in a calculator, but 2 times 3 is just 6. Now, remember what we said, once you get here, we are kind of done, but we do look at the discriminant, this number underneath the square root. If that is positive, we say it has 2 solutions. If it's negative, we have no solutions, or if it's 0, we have 1 solution. This guy is a positive number. This has 2 solutions. All right, so let's talk about the next one. The next one, notice that it doesn't equal 0 yet. So I need to minus 13x from both sides. And in this one, I'm going to squidge it in the middle here, because I do want it to go x squared, and then my something x, and then my number equals 0. All right, so I've got my a is the number in front of x squared, which is 1. I've got the b, which is the number in front of x, which is negative 13. And I've got c, which is the constant, which is my positive 6. So we're going to do the same setup here. We're going to plug everything into the equation. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And we're going to start plugging stuff in. So the first thing that I like to plug in is all of my b's, because there are 2 b's in these first 2 parentheses. So I'm going to put a negative 13 in both. This a goes top and bottom. So a we said was 1. And then c, this constant, is the last one. So it's a 6. And we're going to do this in sections again. So the first section, no calculator required. Negative 13 makes a positive 13. Plus or minus the square root. And then we're going to type this middle bit into a calculator. I'm not going to show you guys my calculator this time, but you type it in looking exactly like that. And it looks like I got 145. And then on the bottom, you could type this bit into a calculator if you wanted to, but 2 times 1 is just 2. Now I'm going to look at that, and specifically, I'm going to look at my discriminant again, this number that turned up under the square root. If it's positive, you have 2 solutions. Negative, no solutions. 0, 1 solution. This guy has 2 solutions.